Crypto Geeks, and welcome to another exciting video. We have a lot to talk about today, guys, and I think we're heading into a settlement very close. My prediction was after the discovery, but things have changed, and they've changed significantly. So we'll talk about that in this video. It's going to be a very quick, brief video. Not too much going on the actual document and lawsuit front, but let's talk about XRP and Bitcoin and ADA specifically. With that, please click that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so. It really helps me out, helps grow this channel. Obviously, I'm not providing you with any financial or legal advice. Always do your own research. Guys, you know what's crazy? Over the last couple of days, I've been trying to actually find out what the hell is going on with XRP, because the price has been relatively stagnant, ranging between about 65 and 72. And been fluctuating a lot just within that very small range, which tells me there wasn't a lot going on. But over the last couple of days, things have begun to change a little bit. And I'll tell you what I believe is going on. I think this quiet between XRP and the SEC is signaling major discussions underway between the SEC and Ripple. In fact, you're starting to now hear more information as to Ripple connecting with more banks internationally and within the United States. In fact, it's one of 5 cryptocurrencies that are right now being looked at internationally as universal tokens or coins or cryptocurrencies to be used within the banking infrastructure. They're looking at XRP. ADA is being considered for some portions of it. I know Ethereum as well, and Bitcoin and XLM. And now you've seen a video recently released by BitBoy also talking about some information that he has that banks are looking at XRP specifically as the global or universal currency. Now, I think the fact that you look at these things, or you're hearing all of these things come out now, signal a big change in terms of where XRP is heading and where Ripple and the SEC are heading. You would not have seen, I think, this much quiet if you were looking at a significant progression of this lawsuit. Think about it like this. If there's going to be more fighting, as there was, as was the case over the last couple of days and weeks, you're likely to would have seen more documents being released by the SEC and Ripple fighting their argumentative points and not bring too much to the court system. Another major thing that I believe is signaling that there has already been major talks and likely a settlement underway in the next couple of days or weeks is that you've not seen any decisions on a lot of the major points that or documents that were put forward, including the motion to dismiss and other motions that the Ripple and the SEC were waiting on, like almost 5 decisions from Judge Netberg. And she's not made a decision on all of that. And she's a quick judge. I mean, she's not one to slack off or delay things. In fact, one of her last decisions she made was over a holiday. So it's not like she's trying to slow down or she's one that, takes forever to answer. But I think she's waiting for a response as to the final decisions on a possible settlement. So the fact that she's not responded yet tells me that either she's getting word from the SEC and or Ripple that they are still talking and waiting a final decision on a settlement before they get her involved, or that she already knows that there is settlement underway, but that they're waiting to release that information. Remember, there's been a lot of documents that have been sent in seal. At least I think around we're at like 3 or 4 documents that have been sent in seal, which means they have information that are that is between the court system and the lawyers and not allowed to be released to the public. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, and if you watch them, you'll know that I told you that probably what it mentions in these documents is that they're discussing a settlement options and having some very close discussions, and that has been the case. Now, I love one of the points that Jeremy Hogan's, one of the lawyers that talks about XRP brought, and it's a valid point and a point that I brought up before about XRP or Ripple more specifically and the SEC, and the reason that there's been so many delayed meetings for the SEC. There's been a lot of meetings that they've scheduled for settlement talks, and they talk about settling any any lawsuit that they have against any company. And remember, the SEC is not only dealing with Ripple; they're dealing with a lot of other companies that they're suing. But those meetings have been continuously postponed. And why have they been postponed? Because of the resignation of one of the major directors of the SEC only 1 week after getting their job. And I told you at the time, this to me signaled that the SEC is having internal dilemmas and issues. And I believe the major cause of that is this Ripple lawsuit. I believe a lot of members within the SEC actually want a settlement. In fact, what proves this point even further is that you heard the commissioner of the SEC and an active commissioner that's within the SEC now saying that XRP could be classified as a non-security, which again contradicts what the SEC is saying. So you're having members within the SEC, active members within the SEC contradicting themselves, again signaling a lot of dilemma within the SEC. And I believe what's going to happen is the more that this lawsuit looks like it's not in the favor of the SEC and more in the favor of Ripple, the more members that you're going to see actively oppose anybody within the SEC that's pressuring this lawsuit moving forward, particularly because it's going to hurt the overall image of the SEC. And I think over the last couple of weeks and months, you've seen the image of the SEC decline day by day by day. You're seeing big members of the public, in fact, millionaires and billionaires going out speaking against the SEC, whether they're referencing this lawsuit, and a lot of them have referenced this lawsuit specifically, but they've referenced other issues with the SEC. Mark Cuban, a big example of that, has gone out and publicly, stated his displeasure with the SEC and seeing a lot of internal issues within the SEC. And then you're seeing investigations within the SEC already begin to happen. In fact, some of the information that's already been released about the SEC staff, going on to inappropriate sites during work times and so on. This is all the result of investigations within the SEC. And the fact that the SEC is refusing to release Ethereum documents and Bitcoin documents, and the fact that members within the own SEC are now going to have to be questioned within the court. And this is all going to continue to hurt the SEC's reputation and the SEC's image and their ability truly to do their job. If you're trying to put someone as a policeman for businesses and corporations and making sure they conduct their work properly, and this person shows, through other cases that they're corrupt, they're really not going to be trusted. And there's going to be a lot of people that fight back now, seeing that Ripple has fought back and has fought back successfully. If Ripple really, not even necessarily wins this case, but if they show that really the SEC has not been able to do their job and have been unsuccessful and not able to convince the court really to continue with this lawsuit, or even that that they've lost this lawsuit, even if it's not truly them losing the lawsuit, but settling on Ripple's term, is going to show that SEC is really on the weaker end of things, and that corporations and companies and private entities have the potential to win. And this is definitely something that the SEC doesn't want, particularly because their job is to sue different private entities that are not following the law. So the SEC really is at a fine line right now between a destruction of its overall image, with the public and with companies, and potentially trying to win a single lawsuit against a cryptocurrency company. So they're really at that divergence, and I think the more that Congress gets involved and the more that you see legislation come in to try and legitimize and legalize and manage crypto, the more it becomes very clear that they're really not going to win. Imagine they go through this lawsuit and we get to the stage where a decision gets made, is to be made, let's say October or whenever, or close to the end of the year, and then Congress comes out and says, you know what, we're going to let cryptocurrencies do what they need to do. We just need to tax them properly, which they've already said about taxing it. And we need to keep a closer eye. Then they've guaranteed themselves losing this lawsuit. 100%. And then they're really screwed because they've lost the lawsuit and they proved their illegitimacy and the lack of ethics, and that there's a lot of problems within the SEC itself. and that they need to be investigated and managed properly. And you're probably going to see a lot of clearance within the SEC of members that have been found to have connections and poor ethics and a lot of conflict of interest. So they're really putting themselves between, two tight corners here, and really they can't benefit from it. So a settlement, I think, is their only option, and it's becoming much, much clearer that with all of this quiet and with all of this lack of information from the SEC and even from Ripple, right now you're seeing a lot of covering or closure and hidden things from Ripple's end, not for, necessarily for bad, but this is just how settlements go, right? There's a lot of quiet within settlements until they reach a final answer. Ripple's not going to say, we're super close to a settlement, guys, we're like a couple of days away. They can't say that, right? They need to make sure that they actually have a settlement, everything is signed, and it needs to be forwarded to the court. Court needs to approve it. And then it gets released when the SEC and Ripple are ready. Even after it gets signed by the court, if they specifically mention to the judge that we wish to make this seem like it's still going on and wait until we're ready to release this information to the public, the judge is going to applaud, right? She has no issue with that. In fact, if you read the general script for how Judge Nutburn wishes to proceed with settlements and how she sees settlements moving forward, she always mentions this, this kind of hidingness to it until everything is confirmed. So she's with that, keeping everything under there and calm until it's been confirmed 100%. Remember, a big reason that Ripple wants a settlement with the SEC is beyond just, this case with XRP. They want to be listed, right, on major exchanges, and they want to be able to, like Coinbase, go on major US exchanges, right, for as a company, Ripple itself. So this signature from the SEC is 100%, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, going to have to be part of the settlement. So for them to get all of this adds more paperwork, and this adds more reasons for the settlement. So and more paperwork and delays for them releasing a settlement option or the fact that they've had a settlement. But I think in the next couple of days, guys, we're looking at some good news. We're looking at some outstanding news, and I think this news will come in sections. I think even if there's 100% a settlement, what you will see, as I mentioned before, you'll see a spike in the price, and then you'll see some consolidation, which is, in my opinion, the first signal of a settlement. Because, as I've mentioned earlier, the people that are going to hear about it first are going to be the people that are very close to this case, and they're going to notify the people that are close to them, whether they work for a law firm or this law firm works for a bank and wants to let them know so that they can take advantage of it. So you'll see a spike in the price. That would, to me, is the initial trigger that we've probably seen a settlement. And I think this trigger in price is going to be different from the market. Doesn't mean that the market is going to be red and XRP is going to be green. But the amount of green for Ripple is going, or for XRP is going to exceed that of the rest of the crypto market. So that, to me, is the first trigger. The second things to look for after that is initial listings by some exchanges. I think what will happen is some exchanges will say we intend on listing XRP. And this is them knowing that, because what's going to happen is the court system and Ripple specifically is going to begin to notify some of those exchanges that we have settled this lawsuit. We have not released it to the public, but get ready to relist XRP if you wish to do so. So I think a lot of those exchanges, what they're going to be saying is, they're not going to tell you that it's a settlement, but they're going to tell you that we're getting ready to release XRP, which is going to get people excited. And then you're going to start seeing potentially them listing it before you even hear of a settlement. But it could go the other way. It could be that now you hear a settlement and then you hear exchanges say, okay, we've listed it now. So next couple of days, guys, could be really, really big deal. A big couple of days. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to notifying you guys of what is happening and how this market in crypto is going. I think we're still in a bull market, guys. We're still looking at some growth. I think we're looking at not even some significant growth. I think by the end of the year, guys, whether you hold XRP or ADA, or potentially even XLM and Bitcoin for sure too, you're going to be quite happy with your earnings. So let's wait on those good days. I hope you enjoyed this video. Guys, let me know in your comment section if you have any suggestions, or if you really, do you think really XRP is going to settle in the next couple of days? Or do you think it's really way too early to judge? Or do you think it's the end of the year? Let me know your thoughts and click that like and subscribe button. The next one.